What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to do a full first round mock draft for the NFL draft. A little less than a week. It comes up on Thursday, the 24th. I'm using PFF, all 32 teams, no trades because I don't sub to PFF, so I'm just going to have to do no trades. I don't think there's going to be too many trades in the first round, if recent history tells us anything, but you never really know with the draft. So let's start at top with this Tennessee. This is just an easy chalk pick. We've known this for a while. Cam Ward. Although I hold certain opinions about Cam Ward as a prospect, I don't think he's like your ideal number one overall QB prospect. But he does have like tools that you can take and you can mold a good quarterback out of. So I can understand why Tennessee would want to do it, especially with a really lacking quarterback room right now. Um, you're at the top of the draft. You got to take your swing on a quarterback. It's just how it is. You never know when you're going to be picking at number one overall again. So I can totally understand picking Cam Ward, although I don't think he's the best prospect in this class by any means. I can understand why Tennessee would, and I think that is ultimately the right pick for them. I just don't think he's your traditional, like, generational number one overall QB that we've gotten kind of used to in the last few years, which puts Cleveland up at two, and they're going to just take the generational Travis Hunter. My personal favorite player in this process to look at. He's just electrifying, man. Like every Saturday during the college season, he's turning the tape on, and you can watch him on either side of the ball. He's dominating. Obviously won the Bolitnikoff for best wide receiver. A lot of people would argue for Nick Nash having a great season over there, but I think Travis Hunter is ultimately the best chess piece you're gonna find in a draft. He may not be truly generational, but he is a unicorn. He doesn't. You're not gonna find another Travis Hunter for years and years and years. So I think it's the right pick for Cleveland. You can use him as a wide receiver full time there. I mean, they definitely have a need for a wide receiver, and they also need help on the cornerback room. So he can help with both if they let him play both sides. I think they should. He doesn't give it any reason to think that you can't play him on both sides. And if anything comes and he starts to struggle, you can draw back his snaps on either side. But I think that he's ultimately the best player in this class. So it's an easy pick for them, and that puts New York up at three. I think New York, although they have a lot of edge rushers, it's just going to be Abdul. Um, there's a very big tear gap after Travis and Abdul, in my opinion. They're the top two easily. They've been the top two for months now. We've kind of known that. And although they have Kayvon Thibodeau, they have Brian Burns. These are good players. It doesn't stop you from drafting a guy like Abdul Carter, who can mold into being one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. A lot of people draw the comparison to Micah Parsons. Wore the same number, went to the same college, but I think it's a little bit. I mean, they're different prospects. Like I think when Micah Parsons was coming out, we saw a lot more refinement in his game. Like although he missed a lot with the COVID season, he was more of a polished edge rusher. And Abdul, you don't expect him to be polished, right? He's only had 1 year off of the edge, and so he showed a lot of signs this year. He was in the Big Ten. He had double-digit sacks. When I scouted Abdul Carter a few months ago, I think he has the fastest release off the snap for a defensive lineman that I've ever seen, like the quickest first step, which is just you can't teach that. It's invaluable. So it makes sense to draft him at three, regardless of positional value. I mean, you can swing as many times as you want. You might as well just take the best player when you're in the top three. So, and then the Patriots at four. I mean, this isn't what they want. They obviously would want one of these two guys, but I think that this decision it would just be Will Campbell, whether they trade down or stick and pick at four. I'm a personal Patriots fan. And I've kind of come to acceptance that Hunter and Carter are not going to be there at four, and in that case, I would want Will Campbell because I just think, regardless of the arm length or anything like that, the conversation about that, I think ultimately is irrelevant. As a guy who was a three-year starter in the SEC, I think he's the first tackle ever at LSU to start at day one as a freshman. And he played really well. I think he only allowed 4 sacks. We can probably check that, right? Yeah, he allowed 4 sacks in his whole college career. Just a great player. I mean, you might not be able to keep him at left tackle, but if you kick him into left guard, I think he'll be just as good. He's a very technically sound offensive lineman. So I think ultimately getting the best offensive lineman, regardless of any uncertainty of him staying on the outside, this could be like a Peter Skoronski situation from a year or two ago with Tennessee. And he's looking like he's working out as a guard. So I think that's a great pick for New England there. At five, I mean, this would just be Mason Graham for me to Jacksonville. I think Mason Graham is the third best prospect in this class behind Hunter and Carter. he kind of is like the top of the next couple of names in my next tier. He's gonna be big for them. They get the best talent on the board, and they need somebody on that defense who can really plug up the run and help out down there and just be a leader. I think that's what Mason Graham's gonna bring them from Michigan. I mean, a good culture in college. He's gonna be a good guy to have for Jacksonville's locker room. I think for the Raiders at 6, a lot of people, it's been Ashton Jeanty. He's been kind of like the one name that's getting tossed around right now. I agree. I think Ashton Jeanty, I think the Raiders definitely need to address running back. You're not going to tell me that Sincere McCormick and Raheem or no, sorry, that's draft brain. Raheem Mostert are going to be your starting running backs for this year. So Ashton Jeanty makes a lot of sense. I think T-Mac makes some sense too, but I just think Ashton Jeanty ultimately is going to be the pick. Pete Carroll loves his running backs that break tackles back to the Marshawn Lynch days, and Ashton Jeanty is going to go there. He's probably going to thrive. So, I mean, obviously, you've all seen the tape on Ashton Jeanty. You know who he is, and I think he's ultimately worth the top 10 pick. The Jets at 7. This is probably going to be Armand Membu. I think for me, you just need to shore up your tackles. They lost both of them this year. Their starting tackles, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. Morgan Moses went to the Patriots. Tyron Smith retired. And you have Olo Fashanu that you used the top 10 pick on, or was he a top 10 pick? You used a high pick on him last year as a left tackle, so you hope he works out. And you get Membu for the right side to replace Morgan Moses. So I think that's ideally what they want to do. And hopefully you can lock up your tackles for the next decade. So I think that's a great pick. Carolina, it's got to be defense. They need help on the defensive side of the ball. I love giving them Jalen Walker, man. I think Jalen Walker out of Georgia is like, he's a great way to start the building of a bad defense. Like when you have a bad defense and you put a Jalen Walker in there, he's going to really raise the ceiling of everybody around him. Captain at Georgia, he flies all around the field. He makes so many different plays. If you watch them play, the guy's everywhere. Like he's literally everywhere. He's making tackles. He's doing everything. He can pass rush off the edge too. He's not one-dimensional either. I think he's going to be a great football player. So I think that would be a good pick for Carolina. Number 9 of the Saints. Although I don't agree with drafting Shedeur Sanders here. I ultimately think that this would be the landing spot for Shedeur, and it just makes sense. If he doesn't go at 9, I think Shedeur, you're looking at him like to 21 to the Steelers, and I just think Shedeur is going to be a top 10 pick. You need the quarterback position just gets propped up every year in the draft, no matter how talented a QB really is. Like the class, you see like with Cam Ward being a number 1 overall pick, I think last year you'd be putting him in conversations with like the Michael Penixes and the Bo Nixes of the world, and I think Shedeur makes sense to the Saints with Derek Carr. I mean, he's aging, he's not healthy. Like you can't really rely on him. I don't even know if the Saints would really want to keep him around if he wasn't the only option that they had. So I think if you get the chance to get the second QB in the class, regardless of how good he is, if you scout him and you think you like him, I think you take Shedeur here for New Orleans. 10 to the Bears. If I was the Bears, I'd be pretty upset that Ashton Jeanty went to the Raiders because that's ideally who I think they would want at 10. But they kind of have I think they have the luxury to pick a guy like Tyler Warren here. I think Tyler Warren, he's not really needed super badly because Cole Kmet is a good football player, but I think Tyler Warren has like the flexibility and the versatility to really thrive at the next level. He's earned top 10 status. If you watch Penn State in the college football playoffs, it was like offense, Tyler Warren was everywhere. Defense, Abdul Carter was everywhere. So I think Tyler Warren is going to be a good pick for them. It can help Caleb Williams too, right? You need to help Caleb Williams. They address the offensive line in free agency. You give him a close range, short route kind of guy. I think that can really help him, without holding on to the ball too much and everything like that. 49ers at 11. This is Walter Nolan. I love Walter Nolan. I don't know. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions on him. He's a beast, man. He's a freaking beast. And I have pulled up right here. This is the San Francisco 49ers depth chart. If you look at their defensive tackles, you got Kevin Givens, Jordan Elliott. They lost Armstead this offseason, and you just need to get something else to help you. I mean, the only pass rush threat on this entire team is Nick Bosa. And Nick Bosa is an unbelievable player, but he can't do it all alone, and I think you have to address that in the first round of this draft, whether it be with a guy like Walter Nolan, who I think has the upside to really be the best defensive tackle in this draft, or a guy like Mike Green, You could get a guy like Jahad Campbell and use him as like an edge rusher, like pseudo off ball kind of guy. Donovan Ezuraku is really good. Like, you need to attack this D line. You can't just have Nick Bosa be the only threat on your defensive line, like the only true threat. I think at 12 to the Cowboys, they would take Tet McMillan here. They kind of lucked into this, I think. I think Tet has been prospect fatigued quite a bit. He's just such a great player. He's so strange to look at, to like evaluate. Like, he's 6 foot. Is he 6'4"? I think he's 6'4", right? If you can look real quick, he's 6'5". He's 6'5", and he doesn't win with his size too often. Like, you're not seeing like, here goes a Hail Mary to Tet McMillan and like jump up and win. Like, that's not really how Tet McMillan likes to win. He's more of like a yards after catch kind of guy, which is really strange for his build. But I think that he has the tools that if you wanted to use him like a T. Higgins, for example, to CeeDee Lamb's Jamar Chase, I think you could mold Tet McMillan to be that. You would just need to. He's young. I mean, you can mold him to be whatever you want to be. But if you look at the Cowboys depth chart, they are in desperate need for skill position players. I mean, you got Javonte Williams as your RB1. You have Jalen Tolbert, Kavontae Turpin. Like, these guys are good, I guess. They're good depth pieces, but they're not. You don't want Jalen Tolbert as your wide receiver 2. You don't want Jonathan Mingo playing real minutes for you. Like, I think they desperately need another skill position X factor kind of guy, whether it be a running back like Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton or a guy like Tet McMillan. So I think in this case they would be happy to draft Tet McMillan. 13 to the Dolphins. This is probably one of two guys. I think it's going to be a corner. I have this pulled up too, actually. If you look at the Dolphins cornerback room, man, Jalen Ramsey just requested a trade, and they're working out a deal against each other. So if he's not there, it's Ashton Davis, Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, Kader Kohu. Like, that is a really, really bad cornerback room. I'm sorry. And Will Johnson is a great player. He's my favorite. I think he's the best corner. His 2023 tape is ridiculous. His 2024 tape, he's just injured a lot, and he doesn't look like he's fully healthy. But I'm going to give them Will Johnson. I think that he's a lot faster than he runs, too. Like, in-game speed is a little bit better than what I think. He ran in like the 4.5s, I think, like the pro day or the combine or whatever, but I think he's faster than the 4.5s. I think he can keep up with 4.3, 4.4 kind of guys, and he's obviously a great corner. Go watch the 2023 tape on Will Johnson. I think if he came out after 2023, I think you're looking at him higher than 13th overall, but that's just me. The Colts at 14, I think everybody wants to give them a tight end. It's kind of glaring that they just keep trying to like plug in like random tight ends every year, and they need to invest in the position. But I just don't know how much they would love Colston Loveland. I'm not a huge Colston Loveland guy. I'm much bigger on Tyler Warren. I think that Colston Loveland just doesn't play with the physicality I'd want out of a 6'6" tight end. He doesn't block nearly as well as he should for his size. I just think he's kind of, I don't know. I'm not really too sold on him as the prospect. I can see him going to the Colts, but when have the Colts ever shown us that they do value the tight end position? Because if they keep doing this with these like 3-4 man rotations, they keep neglecting the position. So why would I mock them a tight end in the top 14? So ultimately, I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to just give them Jahad Campbell, who is one of my top 10 players. I think that he's a freak off the edge if you wanted to use him like that. He's got great speed for the position. He's athletically just dominant. I think he tested insanely well, like in the 9.5s higher, something like that. He's really good. I think that he'll be a nice piece for them to just let him loose, and he can learn with Liatu Latu, and they can have like a really, really competent linebacker room, which would be more helpful, in my opinion, than giving Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, Colston Loveland. I think that this is a much better pick for Indianapolis. Which puts the Falcons at 15. I'm going to give them Mike Green. I think it's the perfect pairing, man. I mean, they have a terrible pass rush. They're one of the worst in the league for years now. And last year we were all mocking them to draft a pass rusher, and then they drafted Michael Penix Jr., which ultimately ended working out, but it looked stupid on draft day. Mike Green fits perfectly, though. Like, they've never had problems with off-the-field guys. I mean, Michael Vick comes straight to mind, but Mike Green, man, he fits exactly what they need. He led the FBS, I think, in sacks this year. He had like 17, right? 17 sacks, yeah. Crazy PFF score. This guy's a dog, man. He is a real dog. He dominated the Senior Bowl. I don't see him slipping out of the first round, regardless of his attitude or whatever they're trying to talk about, like character concerns. He's just too good, man. He's too good. So I'm going to give Mike Green to the Falcons there. 16 to the Cardinals. It's got to be defense for me. I don't know where to put Jahdae Barron, so I'm just gonna give him to the Cardinals, man. I don't know what I think about Jahdae Barron. I think he's being mocked as like a consensus top 20 pick right now, and I'm not there yet. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna go in that range because from all I'm seeing, like people are extremely high on Jahdae Barron, and I think at the end of the day, he has good ball skills. He's a little undersized, right? He's 5'11", but he's got the weight to go with it, so he can play physical. I mean, he's got great ball skills. He's got absolutely great ball skills. He can play in the zone. I think that he would just help the Cardinals. I mean, they need help in their corner room and in their defense in general. So, getting a player like him, I think, would help regardless of what draft position you take him at. So. And then we got the Bengals at 17. I like to mock them Donovan Ezeraku, but I just don't think that Donovan Ezeraku is going to go before Mykel Williams. I think Mykel Williams, he's got all the insane traits, projecting. He's a lot of projection. He's another projection case, but he's a Georgia defensive end. 5 sacks this year, 6 last year, 6 the year before that. 6'5", 265 though. I mean, he's huge. He's huge, and he's fast for being that big, so you can develop him. I think they need to. I would personally attack the edge position if I was them. I think the edge position is the strongest in this class. You're guaranteed to get a good one at 17. And then on top of that, you have Trey Hendrickson that you're not really sure about what you're going to do with, whether you're going to move him, whether you're going to overpay for him, or you're going to let him do this last year on the contract and then walk. I don't know. So I think you address it in this draft. You get your insurance policy, and if you do trade him, you're not really feeling it as much. At 18 to the Seahawks, this has to be offensive line. It just does. Josh Simmons with the injury history, I just don't know if they'd be willing to take the chance. I think Josh Simmons, if he didn't get hurt this year, would be the first tackle off the board. He's that damn good. But I think ultimately they'd play it safe. They go Kelvin Banks. And it's because Kelvin Banks can move to the inside. You already know if he moved to guard, he's huge, man. He would be a great guard. I don't know how he sticks on the outside. 6'4", 320. He's got short arms as well. So I think if you put him on the inside as a guard, he'd be phenomenal, and he would really help them and what they need. Buccaneers at 19. I mean, this is definitely defensive, I think. I think they would take Donovan Ezeraku, actually. Donovan Ezeraku, I love him. He's very fast. I think there's going to be certain coaching staffs out there, if they do draft Donovan Ezeraku, they're going to want him to put on weight because he's 247, 6'2". But he is super fast off the edge, and he just blows up plays. Like, if you watch his Boston College tape, he is blowing things up. And then if I pull up his sack totals, he had 14 sacks this year, and he's just been dominant. He is really good. I think he has a lot of room to grow, too. So I like him to the Bucs. They like attacking the defense, and I think that they should because their offense is pretty damn good, honestly. So Broncos at 20. This would be Amari Hampton. I love Amari Hampton. I just think he's Josh Jacobs 2.0. I think he's going to come in and he's going to change this Broncos offense. You need to give Bo Nix more weapons. You can't have him, throw into the Cortland Suttons and the Devon Velays and running up the middle. I mean, they had that weird running back room last year. Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Audric Estime. I think you invest in Amari Hampton. He can be a 3-down back, and those other guys can just be backups, and they can be insurance policies. I think Amari Hampton, though, is definitely worthy of a first-round pick. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes higher than this because he's really good. 21 to the Steelers. I just think they're going to draft a quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, the weird thing is Jackson Dart is pretty clearly the third quarterback in this class, but Jalen Milroe got invited to the draft, which really confuses me because you don't invite guys to the draft if you don't think they're going to go in the first round. I don't know what the Steelers would... He doesn't really fit the mold of a Steelers quarterback as much as Jackson Dart does. So I would give them Jackson Dart, but I'm curious what's going to happen with Jalen Milroe. I think what's probably going to happen is, the Eagles, the Chiefs, or, the Bills are going to, trade down with maybe, the Giants or the Browns or something, and then they're going to get the fifth-year option on Jalen Milroe, and that's how he's going to be a first-round pick. But he's not technically going to be, you know what I mean, but... I think that's what's probably going to happen. I think Jackson Dart, though, the Steelers just have to get a QB. They can't just wait on Aaron Rodgers, 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to do it for you. You need to get your QB of the future, and they're never going to be picking higher than this because their team's always 9-8, or they're always making the wild card and losing in the first round. So you might as well take Jackson Dart and hope that you can develop him for a year behind Rodgers if he comes over. But, yeah, that's what I would do. I think they need to address the QB position. 22 to the Chargers. It would be either Kenneth Grant or Colston Loveland. I just think Harbaugh would look at both of these guys and just pick one of his Michigans. I'm going to give him Colston Loveland because I think Kenneth Grant can go somewhere else. I don't know where to put Colston Loveland. And they do need a tight end, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense. Harbaugh gets his tight end. He gets his college guy. So he would know how to use him right out the gates. I think Green Bay at 23. A lot of people love Matthew Golden. I don't love. I think Green Bay sneaky. I would really like to wager that they draft a wide receiver. I think they need a alpha wide receiver who is head and shoulders above their little group of wide receiver twos that they have over there. Matthew Golden. Everybody loves Matthew Golden. I don't really particularly think he's like. I think Emeka Egbuka is better. I think Luther Burden is better. I think Jaden Higgins might even be better, and I'm going to give him Jaden Higgins because Jaden Higgins is, what is he, 6'5" or 6'4"? He's 6'4", 215, 22 years old. He wins with size. He can play downfield. He can play over the middle of the field. It's a guy that Jordan Love would need, and I think that if he does sneak into the first round, I think a lot of people would be surprised. I don't, because the X wide receiver is very rare in this draft, right? Even the guy like Ted McMillan, who is built like an X receiver, he's 6'5". He doesn't play like an X wide receiver. I think Jaden Higgins plays a lot more like an X wide receiver, so I can see him being a first-round guy. And I think the Packers would be the team looking for that, which puts the Vikings at 24. Malachi Stark can't keep sliding, man. I think he had a disappointing college football playoff, disappointing end to his campaign, and it kind of dropped his stock. I think he got a lot of prospect fatigue too, but this is a damn good football player, man. He helped that Georgia defense a lot. He kind of gave them a different look that they could give out every week, and he was just making plays all over the field. So I think Minnesota, they need their Harrison Smith insurance. He's 36, I think, 36, 37. He's getting up there. He's probably going to retire after this year. It's not bad to get him in the building, let him learn for a year, and then unleash Malachi. Because I think Malachi ultimately is the best safety in the class, even though Nicky Manwari had a ridiculous combine. 25 to the Texans. This would be Josh Simmons for me. They just have to draft offensive line. I don't know what the Texans are doing. It makes no sense to me, honestly. They traded away Laramie Tunsil, which is fine if you wanted to get rid of Laramie Tunsil, but you're bringing in worse tackles. You're getting rid of your already bad offensive tackles besides Laramie Tunsil, and you're bringing in even worse offensive linemen. So I don't know what they're doing. I think they need to draft offensive line, and I think Josh Simmons with that Ohio State connection to C.J. Stroud and everything, I think this would be his landing spot if he got to 25. I think he'd be a steal at this spot too if the patella injury from last year proves to not really take a step back. Rams at 26. Yeah, I think the Rams are tough to pick for. They just have, I don't even know, man. I think they might honestly just trade out of this pick and just try to get more. They've been kind of in the draft pick era now. They used to just be like, fuck them picks and trade them all away. But I think that they would be in the interest of trading back. But if they were to stay, I don't really know. I'm going to give him Trey Amos. I think I gave him Trey Amos when I first recorded this. Big corner. You know, they always kind of seem to recycle the cornerback position over there in LA. Yeah, he's 6'1". He's got size. But they always seem to like recycle the corner position. They don't really stick too long. They don't really pay these guys. I think the only one that comes to mind is Jalen Ramsey for the last few years. They love to kind of get these undrafted guys in there and play big minutes for them. I think if you sink first-round capital investment into a player as good as Trey Amos, the LA Rams would be happy about that. Their fans would be happy too with an actual investment at cornerback for once. 27 to the Ravens. They would draft Gray Zabel or Zabel, whatever you want to say it. I think this would make the most possible sense, and they're definitely in the market for an edge here, and there are edges, right? You got James Pierce Jr., you got Nick Scorian, you got Shamar Stewart. Like, these are all first-round edges. I think even Landon Jackson might be a first-round edge because he tested insanely. But Gray Zabel, the reason why I think he makes the most sense to the Ravens is because you just lost Patrick McCarry, and Patrick McCarry is what Gray Zabel is as a prospect. You know, he plays everywhere on the offensive line. He could play tackle for you like he did at North Dakota State. He's got short arms, so you probably don't want him to, but he can play guard. He can play center. He can be a swing tackle if somebody gets hurt or something like that. But yeah, short arms, can play everywhere on the offensive line. It just reminds me a lot of Patrick McCarry. He's going to be their filler for that, right? And you know exactly what to do with him. You can put him in all these positions. He'd be extremely valuable over there for Harbaugh, so I think that would really be nice for them. 28 to the Lions. I think the Lions would prefer Shamar Stewart. No, I don't know. They're both just freaky athletes, man. James Pierce and Shamar Stewart are both just really twitchy, really fast edge rushers who get to the quarterback quick. James Pierce had way more production at college. He had 8 sacks, 43 hurries. Shamar Stewart notoriously has 2 sacks, 2 sacks, 2 sacks. So he doesn't have the sack numbers in college, which is really weird. But he projects well to the NFL. He had 33 hurries this year on 315 pass rush snaps. He's a good player, but I don't know. I think I would just give them James Pierce. I think James Pierce makes sense. I don't know how much the Lions care about his attitude concerns. You put him across from Aiden Hutchinson, and I think you have like an elite pass rush again, which they lacked because of injury this year, not because their pass rush was bad, but just Aiden Hutchinson went down and he was having a DPOY candidacy. So I think you bring in James Pierce, put him on the other side, and they can wreck games together. I think that Washington would see this and they would just take Shamar Stewart right after her because I think Shamar Stewart is also just a great player. I think they need help off the edge too. I think Washington would be a little more happy with James Pierce than Shamar Stewart just because they lost a lot of their sack production. They lost, I think it was Dante Fowler Jr., who led them with like 12 sacks this year. And you kind of want to fill that with something, right? And you're hoping that if you draft Shamar Stewart, he's going to have more than 2 sacks like he did in college. But I think he will. I think he'll be very nice for them. He's a freak athlete, man. He dominated the combine and the athletic score. I don't even know if he'll make it to 29. I think he might go a little bit higher than this, but I can see him anywhere in the first round. I don't really see him getting out of the first round though. 30 to the Bills. There's a couple ways the Bills can do this. I just like giving them this guy, man. I think Maxwell Harrison just really fits what the Bills need. I could also see it being Benjamin Morrison, but Benjamin Morrison's coming off injury. He would be probably a top 15 pick, though, if he wasn't getting injured. Same with Siobhan Revell. Siobhan Revell would probably also go like top 25 if he didn't get hurt. But they both are coming off injury. I think Maxwell Harrison, though, I mean, he's got the 6'1" size. He's extremely fast. I think he ran the fastest 40 for any corner. He ran like a 4.3 something, 4.38 maybe. And he sticks. I mean, when you watch his tape, he's like sticking to these guys in man coverage, and I think that's what Buffalo really likes out of their corners. So I think Maxwell Harrison would make a good bill. 31 to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's just so many ways this team could get better. I love a lot of these wide receivers. I just don't know how many wideouts go in the first round. I don't think the Chiefs would draft one either. Honestly, I think the Chiefs would go Tyler Booker here. They need to help the offensive line. I mean, we watched the Super Bowl, and they just got wrecked by the very, very good Eagles defensive line. But, I mean, you get the best pure guard in the class in Tyler Booker, who I think would be an immediate day one starter, impact player. And you have him on one side, Trey Smith on the other, and you're really cooking with some fire there on the inside. It helps you with the Jalen Carters of the world who are just wrecking the Super Bowl. So, and then 32 to the Eagles. I could see one of these wide receivers being the pick. I mean, Matthew Golden's probably not getting out of the first round. I just don't think that he's... I really think that Emeka Egbuka is a better player, and I think Emeka Egbuka would be my pick if I had to choose between both of these guys. I also don't really know about Kenneth Grant getting out of the first round either, but I just didn't really find a spot for him. But I think that I'm going to do the fun pick here, man. Nick Emanwari to the Eagles. Talk about Nick Emanwari. He is a beast, dude. He's built like a tank. He's like, I don't even know how tall is Nick Emanwari. I got to find it out here. Hold on. What's his height? 6'3", 227. And he ran in like the 4.4s, 4.3s. A 43-inch vertical, by the way. The guy belongs on a track. Like, he belongs playing track and field. He's a pure athlete. He's probably the best athlete in this class. I think he ranked as like a perfect athletic score on 4 different NFL positions this year. That's how much of an athlete he is. He's just really raw. And I don't know how good he is as a pure safety, but I think the Eagles can throw him into their secondary and just make him look like an absolute stud. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be an NFL nightmare right here. These two guys are demons to get to the Chiefs at 31 and 32. But that's my mock draft. I hope I didn't move the mouse around too much in it. That's why I re-recorded it. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment and everything if you enjoyed. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.